What's up everyone, thanks for tuning in to the brand new episode of Anybody Can Do It. This is episode number 10. This is your host Sarge from London, UK, and for those who are tuning in for the first time, if you would like to know a little bit more about me, you could start from the episode 1 where I do talk a little bit about myself and my journey with Amazon FBA and private label business. I wanted to start this episode by thanking everyone who's joined the Facebook group recently. Thanks and welcome to the group. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'm sure either me or someone in the group will be happy to assist you with any questions that you have with your Amazon private label business, or even if it's anything related to retail app. We got people who do retail app and private label both, so you're more than welcome to ask any questions that you have. So let me just dive into the actual content straight away. So today I'm going to be talking about Amazon lending. Now, this is not exactly something which I actually wanted to share in the episode 10. I wanted to create an episode which actually talks exclusively about how you finance your Amazon business, or different ways how you could finance your Amazon business, based on my experience and what kind of services or facilities that I have used personally to finance my Amazon business, whether it was private label or retail arbitrage, since I started selling onto the Amazon platform. But before I could actually create an episode exclusively on the financing of your Amazon business, just after Prime Day deal at midnight, I saw a pop-up on my Seller Central which was for Amazon lending, and I started researching a little bit more about it. I didn't want to click it straight away because it said apply now, so I wasn't really sure. So I waited till I could speak to my FBA manager, and then he got me through to someone in the Amazon lending team. And after I spoke to the lady, I actually found out what exactly Amazon lending was about, and I thought maybe this kind of facility appears on your Seller Central as well if you have been selling for a long time, because they haven't really given an exact data or any kind of criteria how you become eligible for Amazon lending. But I tried to question her as much as possible and took out whatever information I could take out, so I could share that on podcast. So if this opportunity comes to you in future, you know a little bit more about it, and maybe it can help you to get your Amazon business to the next level. So let me just start with the basics. What's Amazon lending? Amazon lending is just like another loan, but more than loan, it is more sort of like a working capital loan, which if you have heard in past that PayPal used to give out such working capital short loans to businesses that use PayPal extensively for their e-commerce business. Now, there are a lot of such short-term loans out there which are called working capital loans for online businesses like us, but I don't want to get into those other options in this particular episode. I want to keep this episode exclusively about Amazon lending. So Amazon lending was basically Amazon started lending such short-term loans to Amazon sellers in US, I think since 2012, and that was only made available to Amazon.com sellers. It ranged from anywhere from between $1,000 and I've heard and I've read on a blog that some big sellers were offered up to about $600,000 as well. So it's been quite popular on Amazon.com, and I heard it's already been applied to Amazon Japan as well. But this started possibly on the 29th of June on the UK platform, and I saw this opportunity at the end of the Prime Day deals. And I was just going through my Seller Central, at midnight. I just wanted to check how many sales I had made on that Prime Day deals, because I had 2 items that were part of the Prime Day deals, which I have already mentioned in my previous episode. And when I was going through that, I just saw a pop-up, on my Seller Central, which said Amazon lending. And this was the first time I ever saw, so I was a bit skeptical about it as well, because it said apply now. And I thought if I click on it, it will probably just take me, straight away through the application. So I did actually wait till I could speak to the FBA manager, and obviously by the time I spoke to someone in the actual Amazon lending team for UK platform. Now, how exactly this works is you could term this loan a bit more like a working capital loan, which obviously, as I said, I will talk about the alternate sources that I wanted to talk about in another episode. But how Amazon lending works is they give you a snapshot or a maximum amount. It shows on your Seller Central. Now, all these are based on your actual performance in the past. Again, they didn't want to give out the exact details what the criteria are or how you get selected, but they just said it's based on your performance. So I'm assuming it could be taking into account a lot of stuff like your previous sales, and as I'm an FBA seller, they already see that I stock so much products in the FBA center, so I'm sure that's taken into consideration as well. So let me just quickly go through the exact lending opportunity that shows up on my Seller Central, so you have a little bit better idea. Now I got offered a maximum amount of 84,500 pounds, so that's the maximum I can lend. But when I actually click on it, it shows me different amounts or slabs that I could borrow. Now based on the amount, it also then falls into whether I could take it for either 4 months or 6 months. So 6 months is the maximum allowed and the minimum is 4 months. However, it also states that there's no early repayment fee. So if I wanted to actually pay it up within a month's time, they don't have any problem with that. But the minimum amount that it shows up, or how it is initially set up, is for 4 to 6 months. Now it also states that once it's approved, the funds will be ready to disburse. So they don't directly send the funds to your bank account. If they approve you, whatever the loan you apply for, it will then show as an available balance in your Seller Central account, which you can withdraw. Now, I know if you are a US seller, possibly you don't know about this because you get your funds disbursed every 14 days. That's exactly how we had as well. But now, since most of us have gone through that verification, which they started into EU marketplaces, we have an option to disburse our funds every 24 hours. So we can withdraw money daily now after we have gone through the verification, which started a few months ago. Now, so once the amount is into the Seller Central, available funds, we can withdraw that. Now, how it works is that you have 6 months. So if I went in for a 6 months loan, every 30 days after the day when it was actually disbursed on your account, it will generate some kind of like invoice which either pops up on your screen, or probably you'll get an email. Now I have to see that because obviously I haven't gone through that yet, but that's what I was explained, that you would get after 30 days you will get a reminder that your payment is due, and you have another 30 days from that date to make the payment. So just like how you receive your credit card statement, and then you have certain amount of days left before you can clear your payment either by direct debit, or you just make your payment by going online. Now how the payment works here is, once that payment is due after that 30 days, any sales that you make after that, it will start accumulating the money obviously in your Seller Central account. And if you decide to withdraw your funds after that, it would take first the payments which are due for the repayment of the loan. So let me just give you an example. So for example, say today was the 30th day, and my payments basically are due from today, and I've got another 30 days to make the payment. But say if I've got my minimum payment which I need to make is 10,000, and if I've got available funds in my Seller Central account which is 11,000 pounds, if I try to disburse funds into my bank account now, what it would do is it wouldn't transfer the entire 11,000 because I've already got a payment due to repay my Amazon loan. So it would take 10,000 away to repay my loan, and then it would disburse only the £1,000, which is the excess of what was required to be repaid into my Amazon loan account. It also states that if we miss the payment, then obviously there is a kind of a penalty charge, just like how you would pay into any kind of other loans or credit cards that you would be using. And if you fail to pay them within the amount of time you're supposed to pay, then obviously you have to pay the excess charge or whatever the late payment fee. So now let me take you on to the live application data, what pops up on my screen when I actually click on the apply button on the Amazon lending screen. So it shows me that I can borrow maximum up to 84,500. Now again, all these are going to depend on what loan amount is offered to you, and I'm guessing and hope I'm guessing that the details are going to be completely different as well, but I just wanted to show you how exactly it looks on my screen. So it shows me that there's two different kind of loans that I could take. So one is which I can take between 4 to 6 months. Now if I'm opting for anything below 55,000 or up to 55,000 pounds, then I can take it either for 4 or 6 months. But anything over 55,000, there's 3 slabs it shows me, which is 65, 75 and 84,500. If I wanted to go any of those 3 loans, then I have to select the 6 months criteria. But anything lower than 55 or up to 55,000, again, it doesn't allow me to select my own amount. So it has basically its own 4 slabs. So it shows me that the initial amount that I can take is $25,000 and £1. The next is 35,000, 45,000 and 55,000. So it's kind of like populated with its own pre-assigned amount, so it doesn't allow me to select my own amount. So I have to choose one of these 7. But if I choose anything below 55, then I can take even for 4 months, but anything over 55, it basically I have to go through the 6 months. So I'm guessing all these work basically based on the actual withdrawal or based on the sales that I have been making, and they are kind of, the algorithms is already picking up that if I have borrowing more than 55,000 based on my history, possibly I'll need more time. So it already kind of checks how much you would be comfortable with paying the amount if you actually took this loan. Now once again, so I'm just showing you what the interest rate are or what my payment would be if I actually selected the maximum amount that shows up on my screen. So if I took a loan of 84,500, first of all I need to also tell you that they take 1% of arrangement fee. So that's same throughout, irrespective of what amount or how many months you're taking. So if I went in for 84,500, it shows me that the arrangement 1% fee would be 845, and that gets deducted even before the amount is withdrawn, disbursed to you. So if I took a loan of 84,500, in effect I would be getting only 83,655. So that's one of my cost for the loan. Apart from that, it tells me that the interest rate on the loan is 5.9%. So that's the overall interest rate. It tells me if I use this for 6 months, the total interest that I would have paid over on this loan is £1,460.20. It gives me my monthly payment amount, which is 14,326.70. So again, it just tells you exactly what you're going to be paying, unlike some of the loans, when you go in there you don't know how much you're going to pay, because all these APR and different rates that you pay is always so confusing. But here it's telling you what exactly are the amount that you're paying. It also then gives me a breakup of the exact payments and the fees I would have paid if I use this loan for 6 months. So if I kept the loan for entire 6 months, at the end of 6 months the cost of loan for the loan would have been £2,305.20. So that's basically calculated as interest, which was 1460.20 plus the 845 arrangement fee. So the cost of loan is working out to £2,305.20 over 6 months. Now, to me, if I was actually needing that kind of loan to do either retail arb or private label, I think I would have made much more than that. Now, say for instance, if you are able to source your product worth 84,500, and even if your margins are like 20%, I'm sure you've already made 10 times the amount which you would have spent on the actual interest rates. But again, these are just my opinion. I'm just trying to tell you what kind of opportunities are available for Amazon sellers, and it's kind of good news, because this is the trouble I've always faced being an online seller. And if you speak to any other online sellers, and if you go on some of the online forums, you'll see the majority of them have the problem is because when you try and go to the traditional banks, they are not really that familiar and paced out with the online selling. Even when I go and speak to my managers, sometimes they don't really know much about how exactly Amazon sales happen, or how much problems we have, because sometimes, like as I said before, we had to wait for 14 days as well before the amount would disburse, and then that would hamper the amount of sales you could do. Because say if you had $5,000 and you sold those you bought the products, you sold, and then you have, even if you sold that in a day, you still have to wait that 13 days before the amount is disbursed, and another few days before it hits your bank account. So you could possibly use one chunk of amount possibly only once a month. But opportunities like this, and that's the reason why I had to go through different third-party working capital loan providers, which I'm going to talk about again in one of the episodes, which was Ivoca, and there's a very similar one which is Cabbage in US as well, which is like a working capital loan. But those loans obviously charge you a little bit more than the usual rates, obviously, because those are working capital loans, but they kind of give out money within hours, not even days. It's just as simple as connecting your Amazon account to them. They check what you've been doing, and then they just offer you the loan straight away. So I'll definitely talk about that in one of the upcoming episodes. But once again, this is just to show you what Amazon is doing, and what I can understand from this, and what I've seen in the last few months, that Amazon is now getting a little bit more and more serious about third-party sellers. It's making offers opportunities like Prime Day deals, lightning deals to available to third-party sellers, which they never did, because they always kept all kind of like lightning deals, Black Friday deals, and to just whatever they sold themselves. They never allowed third-party sellers. At least in UK, I have never been aware that they allowed third-party sellers until last year, when they actually said that it was a pilot batch. So I'm assuming that that was the first time they offered. So there's lots of new opportunities coming out our way. So we can all hope that we can get more and more opportunities, and get our business bigger and bigger by this FBA model. So I hope that this episode helped you to understand a little bit more about Amazon lending, because this is something like a fresh topic. A lot of people must have not heard about it. So I hope that such an opportunity appears on your Seller Central account soon, and it helps you to take your Amazon FBA private label or retail app business to the next level. So that's all for this particular episode of Anybody Can Do It. And once again, I wanted to thank my listeners and everyone who's joined the Facebook group. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group, you can reach out to www.abcd.com/Facebook. That's /Facebook. If you go there, you can click on the website link, and it will take you to our Facebook community where you can request, and I will accept you in. So lastly, depending on where you are, I wanted to wish you good day, good night, and I hope that you will tune in to the next